When it comes to AI, misinformation abounds. In the next 3 videos, I'll try and set the record straight. Here's the great AI myth. Technological progress is advancing along a continuum of better and better general intelligence to eventually surpass human intelligence, that is, achieve superintelligence. This myth fuels both the positive and the negative excitement about AI, both the abominable sales hype around current and emerging capabilities, and the fears of a robo-apocalypse. Ironically, these two contrasting sides very much feed into one another. But maybe it'd be me who's crazy if I tried to disprove AI's inevitability. I mean, if you can't prove something subjective like intelligence has been achieved, you also can't prove it's not been or never will be. It's hard to debunk something that could never be bunked in the first place. However, we can argue against the prevalent presumption that advancements are actively bringing us closer and closer to superintelligence. Debunking the great AI myth is an important part of diffusing the explosion of AI hype and is what I'll do now in this video. Here's the bottom line. Within the realm of AI, the most important progress comes from supervised machine learning. You know, the technology we've been talking about for this entire course. Models that increasingly improve their performance on some benchmarked capability. During that modeling process, a model doesn't become more generally intelligent. It doesn't improve its performance at other capabilities. There's no grounds to believe it would develop broad common sense reasoning, nor for that matter develop its own volition, agency, or pursuit of self-preservation. No, it's just going to keep getting better at identifying cars within an image or whatever. This limitation of supervised learning pertains not only to learning from labeled training data, but also to playing board games and video games, for which we've seen such impressive dramatic advancements for chess, Go, and many video games that were for years mastered only by human players. And any task that can be fully simulated is effectively a source of supervision. The model's performance is measured by trying it out, having it play the game. But that sober reality doesn't curb all the exciting and intriguing storytelling. And let me tell you, superintelligence is narratively rich. If it were somehow achieved, it promises to solve all our problems, but then to also apocalyptically kill everyone. Like, if we naively commanded it to manufacture as many rubber chickens as possible, it might invent an entire new high-speed industry that can make 40 trillion rubber chickens, but that happens to result in the extinction of Homo sapiens as a side effect. This apocalyptic risk is a logical conclusion if you start with superintelligence as a premise. A conclusion for some very good science fiction is what I mean. But that logic doesn't make the fictional premise of superintelligence plausible or even clearly defined in the first place. AI believers tend to presume we're headed in that direction because we're progressing along a spectrum of intelligence. They believe that better is smarter, that the more adept machines become at more and more challenging tasks, the higher they will rank on this scale, eventually surpassing humans. At that point, the machines will be able to automatically improve themselves, and the Skynet's the limit. Nick Bostrom wrote the book on this, the author of the New York Times bestseller Superintelligence and a professor of applied ethics at Oxford. He displayed this spectrum during his TED Talk. You can see as we move along the path from left to right, we pass a mouse, a chimpanzee, a village idiot, and then the Fields Medal winning theoretical physicist, Ed Witten. He's relatively close to the idiot because even an idiot human is much smarter than a chimp, relatively speaking. You can see the arrow just above the spectrum showing that AI progresses in that same direction along to the right. At the very rightmost position is Bostrom himself, which is either, an accident of photography or proof that he himself is an AI robot. The problem is this presumption that intelligence falls more or less along a single one-dimensional spectrum and that technological progress moves us along that spectrum. Machine learning has us marching along a different path. We're moving fast and we'll likely go very far, but we're going in a different direction, only tangentially related to human capabilities. Now, Bostrom rightly emphasizes that we should not anthropomorphize what intelligent machines may be like in the future. It's not human, so it's hard to speculate on the specifics, and perhaps it will seem more like a space alien's intelligence. But what Bostrom and his followers aren't seeing is that since they believe technology advances along a spectrum that includes and then surpasses human capabilities, they're intrinsically defining the subjective concept of intelligence in terms of humans. They're anthropomorphizing these machines of the future. Now, I'm only arguing here against the great AI myth, the belief that technological progress is actively bringing us towards superintelligence. I haven't made the stronger claim that computers could never ever achieve human-level capabilities. That's a more purely philosophical question. We don't really have the time anyway, but here's just a small portion of a more complete argument. Even if the human mind could be emulated by a computer program, the real difficulty would be how to program it in the first place. Just because computers can do anything doesn't mean they will do everything we envision. The power is in the instructions we give to the device, not in the device itself. To date, the best way to get computers to program themselves for complex tasks is supervised machine learning. But no advancements there have proved any inkling of what kind of secret sauce could get computers to gain general common sense reasoning. Dreaming that such abilities could emerge is wishful thinking and rogue imagination. Now, daydreaming's not bad. It's a good thing. But just know that such speculation's no different now, even after the last several decades of impressive innovations, than it was back in 1950 when Alan Turing, the father of computer science, first tried to define how the word intelligence might apply to computers. As the modeling agency founder Eric King puts it, AI is oversold, S-O-U-L-E-D.